This is an excerpt from Unfinished Business, The Future of the American Women's Movement. The excerpt is about ending violence against women. I interviewed 3 women leaders, Kaohly Vang, the director of Nu Cha, Hmong Women Achieving Together, Sasha Cotton of the Institute for Domestic Violence in the African American Community, and Guadalupe Lopez of the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Problem is when we see things happen, domestic violence within minority communities, that it's almost the communities themselves are singled out as if this is just an issue within our own communities. And I feel like when domestic violence happens in the broader community, in the white community, that we don't, it's not framed in the same way. There's so much work that could be done together, even though we are very diverse. And I know you had mentioned that it would be really great if there was the ability to be able to find common themes that we can all work towards together and make it a movement of all people.
The message still needs to be that violence is unacceptable, regardless of, like our affiliation to culture or race. So I think trying to find those things that connect us is an important element, right? Remembering that at the end of the day, it really is about getting at the heart of violence prevention and that we all want to be safe.
We really believe that change happens within our families and our clans. And so our goal with the Family Dialogues is to bring families together, talk about gender issues. I think that we can all be from the same family, and yet, one of our participants, a brother and a sister came together, and the brother walked away saying that I didn't realize all of the things that you were challenged with being in this family. We can be in the same family and see the family so very differently.
And then how do we talk about whole families? I think that dynamic has gotten lost in the conversation, and for communities, in particular communities of color, trying to figure out what women's needs are and what they really want, and that sometimes that challenges the systems we have created, that it may not be an escape route, it may be help planning how to stay in the relationship and be safe. So how do we talk about what are all the options for women?
It's about the tribal communities is that we know exactly when that oppression and that violence started for us in a different manner, and we can actually pinpoint that time for us. And so how do we reclaim that, where women were held sacred and men and women had their roles and violence was not accepted in our communities. You were born into this society where things were so muddled with violence and acceptance of it, and trying to wake people up and your relatives up to say, it's time to wake up, this isn't the way it's supposed to be. Make space for healing, make space for change, make space for accountability. And I think that if we look back at some of the ways that prevention how it's been done in the past, it's like, oh, teach the girls how to be safe, teach the girls what not to do, teach the girls. It's not working. What the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition is trying to do is, what are we going to have our men do? Not every man is out there raping, but they have to start holding each other in their own gender accountable for these assaults. And so what does that look like? So it's having that dialogue with both genders and all youth, elders, and all ages.
Within the historical Black colleges, and this idea of making sure that young men understand what consent is, right?
Yes.
And I think that that's important across college campuses everywhere, because I don't think that we spend a lot of time talking to our sons about don't be a rapist. Don't be a batterer, right? We spend a lot of time talking to our daughters about don't be a victim, button your blouse up, don't walk by yourself in the dark, don't have too many drinks at a party. But we don't talk to our boys about don't take advantage of a girl if she's passed out. Or if she says no, it doesn't mean keep asking. It means don't ask anymore and respect the boundary. These are messages that we think, of course, they should just know that, but they don't. So how do we get them to a place where they understand healthy relationships? And I think that that's the focus of prevention, is really teaching people how to interact in a healthy way.
Some of the best conversations and some of the best strategic planning around that kitchen table that you were talking about, and that's how this movement started.
Now we have Hmong men standing up saying, we have to stop this. We have all this privilege and we have the power to do something. And we truly believe that it is because somebody was having these dialogues with these young men when they were young so that they could grow up to have a different lens.
And in each community, there's always one really great organizer. How do we find those true leaders that are already born in our community and enhance that? And so we have multiple leaders in every little, in every neighborhood, in every tribe, in every reservation, and everywhere, because everybody has a gift, and that's how we're going to do it, is if we enhance our gifts and recognize the gifts we bring that we are born with and bring it to the table to help end it, to recognize that and putting everybody's, gifts in place.
Great.
We've been really trying to use technology as a means because our community is structured differently. We're far more spread out. Some of our cultural lens because of slavery, and then we have new incoming African immigrants, Afro-Latinos, Afro-Caribbeans. So trying to figure out the diversity and complexity that exists in our own community. So social media and the internet is one of the venues that we've been trying to utilize, as well as African American churches and mosques. And so we've been convening these African American Domestic Peace Project participants and filming video blogs that are going to be loaded to our website.
Let's continue the conversation about ending all forms of violence against women. What do you think? Do you talk about this with your family